Okay, it's going live in a second. It's just loading.
Live. It's live now.
Hmm?
Yeah, I think we're live on Facebook.
Awesome. Yeah, we are. Okay. Okay, Manuel. So you want me to make Prof co-host? I'm not quite sure how you want me to do that. Oh, he's already done. The other
The
one.
same way. Yeah,
Make
the other one that is not yet.
Okay, is this correct?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, Emmanuel, you can, let me make you host again. All good, Emmanuel?
Yeah, all good.
Alrighty, it's live on Facebook, so let's start allowing the attendees join, and then I can do the introductions.
Yeah. So 1 minute. So should I broadcast now?
We'll be starting in a second to the people on Facebook. We're just waiting for 4 p.m. and then we'll begin.
Give me a minute.
Manuel, can you do the split screen thing where it's all four of us that show on this, or is it maybe not? Actually, no, this is fine. Whoever is speaking can be showing. Where's your video, Emmanuel? All right, Emmanuel, it's 4 o'clock. Let's let the attendees in.
Okay. Okay. So should we broadcast now?
Yes, that's 4. We can start.
Cool. Let me share the Facebook link on my Facebook page.
Okay, but can we start because we're live and nothing has started?
Cool. So people are joining in now.
Yes, live now.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I see.
Okay.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Everyone on Facebook, welcome.
Welcome to the Binance Masterclass on P2P trading, trading without shots, the OTC lifestyle. As you join, I'm going to just be sharing some house rules. So first of all, we've got Olale Awe, also known as Prof. I'm going to be calling him Prof for the rest of today, who is going to be teaching about P2P trading, his experience. He's going to be demonstrating it and just talking about his journey as well. And then we have Emmanuel Babalola, who is our business manager for Binance in Nigeria. And he's going to be giving you an introduction to what Binance is doing in Nigeria and across the world, and also a bit about a quick introduction into P2P trading. For those of you who are fresh to crypto, P2P trading stands for peer-to-peer trading. There's some house rules. If you have a question, you can use the Q&A function. If you look at the bottom of your Zoom, you see a Q&A function. You can ask questions there. Hi, I can see everybody saying hello. And then the chat function where someone is saying they can't hear me. Can everyone hear me? Emmanuel?
Yeah,
Okay,
can hear you clearly.
someone says they can't hear me, but maybe it's your connection. So if you have questions for our teachers and our panelists, Prof and Emmanuel, please type them using the Q&A function. And then if you just want to make general conversation, we'd love to hear all your opinions, use the chat function. We're going to just wait 1 more minute to give a few more people time to join, and I can kind of go over the the purpose of this event and the program. So Emmanuel, once you get to 130 people, I guess we can proceed from there. We're also streaming live on Facebook, so tell your friends. Okay, almost at 130 people. Okay, everyone, so 132. All right, so thank you all for joining us today. As I mentioned just a few minutes earlier, we've got Emmanuel Babalola from Binance. He is going to be giving you an introduction to Binance and an introduction to peer-to-peer trading. And then we have our speaker, the man of the moment, Prof, also known as Olale Awe, but we're going to call him Prof. That's what he's known as publicly in the crypto community. He is a seasoned crypto trader and a serial entrepreneur and a trader. And he also is the founder of alphatraininglab.org. Throughout this event, I'll be sharing his details in the chat function. And he will be, after his session, he'll be able to answer your questions. So like I said, use the Q&A format if you want to ask questions to Emmanuel or Prof. Before we start, there's also going to be a giveaway. We're going to be giving away to 15 people who answer questions correctly from either of the sessions, either Emmanuel's session or Prof's session. So we're going to be sharing the questions in the chat function, and you will reply in the chat function. So I'll go over those roles closer to time. Okay, Emmanuel, anything else that I need to say that I missed? I think you're muted.
Your mic is muted.
I actually forgot to introduce myself, actually. My name is Dami Odufua, and I am the head of PR for Binance in Africa. I was introducing everybody, I forgot to introduce myself. Emmanuel, please take the floor.
Thank you very much, Dami. It's a pleasure to have everyone on the call. We have right now we have around 45 people on the call, and we have several others streaming live on Facebook. So while we could go on with the class, if you have people that you want to have on the call and they didn't register on time, just go ahead and just share our Facebook link with them. I'm gonna push the link now on the chat as well. Let's see. So that's a watch party. Send it to your friends. They can also join live on Facebook. Okay, great. So let's just go right ahead. My job here is going to be very quick. I just want to just quickly introduce Binance to us and just share our journey, and as well talk about Binance P2P just by way of introduction, so everyone understands what P2P trading is about. Okay, so first of all, Binance is the world's leading exchange. We are in over 180 countries and regions. We have built a processor that allows us to have up to 1.4 million orders processed per second. And that's a big deal in the crypto space. It means that our exchange is powerful enough to handle a lot of transactions. Okay, I'll talk about that later. Now, for Binance Vision, this is the vision of Binance. This is what we are about. When you think of Binance, just think of freedom. Okay, the goal is to increase the freedom of money globally. We want to allow more people have easy access to crypto. We want to allow people, want to bridge the gap. More like a gatekeeper. To allow more people access crypto. That's why you see we have fiat pairs. You have, now almost in every country we are adding currencies, and all that is done so that it will be easier and easier to buy cryptocurrency in these countries where it was formerly more difficult to get cryptocurrency or trade cryptocurrency as well. And the mission is to build the world's infrastructure for crypto. So the goal is to build any service around the world's crypto. So if there is a use case that we feel will be valid in the long run, we'll build a use case around it to allow institutional investors and even retail users to be more comfortable to use crypto as a service or a product. So the core is to keep building and to keep, facilitating the world's crypto. Okay, so that's why you see Binance has a large, for those of you that know about Binance, you notice that we have like a large ecosystem, which I will share in the next slide. So because of our mission and our vision, you see clearly why we do what we do. The vision is to just help people access money more, and as well to build infrastructure around that. So if you see, I talked about this before. The important point here is that you see that we are currently using less than 1% of the load we are supposed to be using. So this processing power we have, we're not even using a significant amount of it, even right now, as the world's number one. Okay. So it means that we can handle 20 times, 50 times more transactions that we are handling right now without any problems. And then in terms of project qualities, Binance is an exchange. It means that we list projects. Yeah. So in terms of project listings, one of the things we realize about Binance is that we have the highest quality of project listings, that is possible. Why? Because less than 3% of projects that apply to us get listed. So that's scrutiny, that's a lot of screening that is put into listing a project on Binance. So this is very important for you to know. And then here we have the Binance ecosystem. Okay, these are all different aspects of the Binance ecosystem. And you see in the middle, there is the Binance exchange, there's futures, and there is P2P. Let's just look at something. In 2018, these were the things we had in Binance ecosystem. Binance is going to be 3 years by next month, and this is important for us. Later on, maybe I would have time to show a video of some things we are doing now, especially as we plan for our 3-year anniversary. But look at this. This is less than 1 year after we launched. We had charity, we had research, we had academy, launchpad, labs, and info setup. Okay. And then we had Trust Wallets, we had BNB, and we had this Binance Uganda fiat on ramp available. And then in 2019, voila, look at all this happening just within a space of 1 year. See the speed that we have used to grow our ecosystem, And here you see the P2P, so I think I have done most of the explanation of almost everything here in our former videos, so you can check them out. For the next 20 minutes, I'll just focus more on the P2P aspect. Okay, so if you see the fiat parts, you see where you have Nigerian Naira here. Awesome, I like seeing this flag. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the next slide. Here you see our trading volumes. So we grew from number 10 to number 1 in just 165 days after we launched. So that's how far we've come. Till today, we are still the world's number 1 in terms of trading volume in the entire crypto space. Okay. So now let's talk about Binance P2P quickly. First of all, what is peer-to-peer trading? When people hear peer-to-peer trading, I don't know what first comes to mind, but I want you to first of all see it as just peer-to-peer. The same way Bitcoin is peer-to-peer, where I send you money directly without involving a third party. That is the same way peer-to-peer trading is. But there is a catch to peer-to-peer trading. Okay, if you notice here, you see that the fiat transactions happen between user and user. It means that I don't send anybody my Naira. I don't send any bank or any third party my Naira. So I send my Naira directly to the user I'm buying from. So let's say I want to buy Bitcoin in Kano, and I met this guy online, and I don't trust him, because I just met him online. He says he has Bitcoin, So if I send him money, it's possible that he runs with my money and maybe his Bitcoin at the same time. Okay, so the only way I can be sure is to use an escrow service. Okay, so what that means is the guy will send his Bitcoin to a trusted party that and he knows, and then when you pay the money to him, he would confirm that he has received the money, and the trusted third party will release the coins to you. Okay, so the cash will move from your account to his account, but for the security of that transaction, you have an escrow that is introduced. The escrow is an automated system. It's not a person, that can decide to also run. No, the escrow is going to be an automated system. And in this case, that is Binance. So Binance has an automatic crypto escrow service that we run where we allow people, we facilitate trust. We allow people transact, trustlessly with one another, and then we hold the coins and we secure the transaction. So once you've confirmed you've received, fantastic, we will allow the coins be released to the buyer. Okay, so now these are the coins that are currently listed on Binance P2P. Mr. Awe will explain more about the entire concept around P2P trading and how it works in the OTC lifestyle. So these are the coins listed on Binance P2P. We have Bitcoin. So if you want to buy Bitcoin and let's say you come to Binance P2P, you see several sellers. You can sell to anyone, send them Naira, they will send you the Bitcoin. Or you have Bitcoin and you want Naira and you don't want to deposit using any of our fiat on-ramp channels. You can just send your Bitcoin to the escrow. The person would send you the Naira, and then you can release the Bitcoin to the person. As easy as that. The same thing for USDT, ETH, EOS, BNB, and BUSD. These are six coins that are listed currently on Binance P2P. Okay, so this is just a little bit more of our journey on the Binance P2P side. So between when P2P was launched and now we have processed over $1 billion in trading volume. And then we have 31 fiat currencies. It means that in 31 countries today, you can use Binance P2P. Okay. And we have zero transaction fees, zero transaction fees. It means that we don't charge for the escrow service. I know someone will ask, then how does Binance make money? Okay, as I told you, our vision is to allow more people access money. Okay, the profits that we make from the crypto to crypto trading part and the sports trading and all that would cover for any profits we are not making from this service, because we really believe that crypto should be more accessible to people, especially in this time, where it's becoming more and more challenging, and then because of the uncertain regulations, so that's why it's easier for people to do P2P. Why? Because you don't have to get any license from anyone to launch a P2P service. I can just say tomorrow I want to add a country in, let's say I want to add um Estonia or any country whatsoever, and I can just add the country currency and have traders. In as much as we have traders there that are willing to buy from one another, then you can just launch the escrow service for them. When they pay themselves and confirm, they can release the Bitcoin to the counterparty. Okay, so it's very easy to operate a P2P business. Why? Because you don't have to register with the government to launch a P2P service. That's why it makes more sense, and that's why it's less risky actually to do P2P. Okay, so we move forward. So here are some use cases. Why do people use P2P? Some problems that it actually solves. Number one is fiat gateway. Okay, so not only a fiat gateway to access crypto, but also a preferred way to send cash. So this time around, you don't have to deposit money from your bank to, let's say, through a Flutterwave or any payment gateway. You send the money from your bank to the person you're buying from directly. So nobody can say this is a crypto transaction or any of those kind of things. And then you have the second reason, which is profit making. Users make profits from the offerings. It's possible to see on Binance P2P to see, let's say someone wants to buy Bitcoin from you, and let's say you've charged the person so and so amount. You can come to Binance and see a list of different offers and just choose the one that best, meets your profit margin, and deal with the person and carry the Bitcoins to send back to you, whoever you're buying or selling for. So it makes a lot of sense for in terms of revenue. This is quick and direct. Here, you are not, you don't have to be reading charts and all that to make profit here. Here, you're making your profit steadily from the, how much Naira and how much dollar you're selling for. You could be making, let's say, 2 Naira per dollar for each dollar you sell, and as you scale up, as you repeat, it makes more and more sense for you in terms of profit making. Another very big thing for me about Binance P2P is that it helps for remittances. Okay, this is very important to us. I have a friend that wanted to order some things from China. Okay, and he had issues using the regular way that they use. They have agents and all that facilitate those transactions. And the fees were becoming higher and higher, especially recently. Okay, introduced him to Binance P2P, and guess what? Now he can bring his naira to Binance. He can sell it for Bitcoin and sell the Bitcoin to a Chinese merchant and give the Chinese merchant a Chinese bank account number of his customer, and the Chinese merchant will send the Bitcoin, the CNY or RMB to that account number and receive Bitcoin. So it makes sense, and also people can send money to you now on Binance.com, and then you can always sell that Bitcoin for Naira instantly, amongst other merchants as well. Okay, so here are the things you can do on Binance P2P. Buy and sell crypto, and I emphasized on this before. It is zero fees, zero fees. Making money. Um, we have Prof in the house to tell us how to make money in this thing, and then remittances. So these are just I just did this to just further explain those points I raised earlier. Okay, so let's compare Binance P2P and the fiat on-ramp, because the biggest question we get today is, why? Let me see. Can you see me? Can everyone see me? Just if you can see me, and if you're following, just type on the chat. Let me see. Okay, cool. So let's go back. So people ask, Binance has NGM BTC listed. We have NGN. I think we have 3 listed NGM pairs on Binance: NGM BTC, NGM BUSD, and then NGN BNB. Right now, those 3 listed pairs are there for people to use and trade and make money. Definitely. Okay, so someone asks, now Binance has spots. Why do we now have the P2P parts? Again, back to the vision of Binance. We want to allow more people to have access to these things. But where it is difficult to get licensed to list a currency pair, we can just open a P2P there without having any form of interactions with anybody. That is one. Secondly, one of the biggest things about it is about providing options for users, allowing users to choose. We listed it exactly as it is right now, and we've processed over $1 billion in transactions. It means that there are actually people that would never touch the crypto to crypto parts or the spot parts, and all they know is just P2P, P2P, buying and selling from real that they are seeing. Even though the one on spot is actually real people, you are not seeing them. But this one, you're chatting with them, you can, So that feel, I think, appeals to some set of people, and that is why we are here today. Okay. So let's just look at some comparisons. The format now for the fiat on ramps, we have direct fiat deposits. Here, there is no direct fiat deposits. All the transactions happen offline between users, and it's just the crypto that is on Binance. And then the fiat payment. On this side, it is through third parties. You have to deposit on a Paystack, on a Rave, on a Flutter Wave, But on the P2P side, it's just between users. Payment method, on the P2P, on the spot side, you can use card and bank transfers, right? On the P2P side, unlimited payment methods. Okay, if the users today say, okay, we want Binance to add OP as a means of payment, we'll add it. So you can now send OP from your wallet to another person's wallet. If you say you want us to add, another form of payment, you can always add it, because it's something that is popular. So let's say you want to post an ad, you can decide and say, okay, I'm only accepting bank transfer for this particular order. And then you can have that. So it allows you to decide how you want to be paid, or maybe you just want bank deposits or checks, So that's how that works. So fee structures, there is a transaction fee for deposits, withdrawal, and all that. But for the P2P side, everything is completely free. Free ads, free transactions. The price user can only, take a given price at a time, you know. That's if you want to be a taker, normal sports trading terminologies. You can just take the price or set a limit order, right? But on this side, you have like you can take anybody's price that you want. You can even go and buy from the most expensive person if you like the guy, you know. So that's that for price, and then transaction limits. Transaction limits for, let's say you can say, oh, daily transaction limits can be, let's say, 18 million naira on Flutterwave, you know. But on the P2P side, it's decided by the users. If the user says, okay, we want to increase this limit to wherever, in as much as you've done your KYC, not a problem. Okay, so that is very important. Those are just some differences between the both of them. So here's our roadmap so far. We have in 2019, we in December we had already completely launched the P2P chat function, and we had already crossed our $100 million trading volume. This year we've done all this from the P2P merchant program we launched, crossing 200 million in February, crossing 500 million in March, and then crossing 1 billion in May. You know, so a lot of progress has been made, and we are still pushing and making future plans. Okay, so how to use Binance P2P? We have Mr. Awe would later do a demo on this, but here is just this is the theory. Okay, register, complete your identity verification, complete your SMS authentication, and then set your payment methods. How would you like to accept payments? To buy, if you're using the app, you can just click on this buy with cash. You see something comes up, a pop-up below that says P2P fiat. Click on P2P, and then you comes to the P2P part, and then you see all the currencies you can either buy or sell it. And then you place your order. You select the by fiat, by crypto, and then payment method, of course. Complete your fiat transactions. So this is how to complete a payment. So this person has paid this person here, and then here you confirm that the transaction has been made. Okay, and then here you receive the funds, and you have a completed transaction here, and then you can just transfer those funds to your spot wallet, and that will be, this is a USDT trade. So this person just bought 266 USDT, and then for sell, the same process. You first of all have to move the money to from your spot wallet to your fiat wallet, and then see all the orders there. The same process. Go to P2P. If you're using the app, you've got a lot of people use the mobile app, and I'm sure a lot of you love Binance mobile app. If you love Binance mobile app, just say hi on the chat. It has a very fantastic user experience, actually. And it can be very complicated for but just take it one step at a time. So people just know how to go to one place in the app. Just stay where you are. Anyhow you know how to use it, just use it like that. No problem. Okay, and then the same process, and then this is how to post ads. You click on this plus sign at the top, and then you step on here, you set the price, and then you can decide whether you want it to be floating or you want it to be fixed. So if it's fixed, it'll just be at that amount. If Bitcoin goes up or down, it'll still be at that amount. But if it's floating, you can set the percentage and say, okay, you want it to always be 2% above or below the price, if it's a buy or sell ad. And then once Bitcoin moves, it also moves. The price adjusts, so that imagine Bitcoin dumps and your price is just fixed in one place, So except you're a very active trader, you know that whenever you come online, whenever you see the market has moved, you can just always come and change the order and adjust it. So you have different payment methods. So you can choose which payment methods you want to accept. You can choose up to 3 at a time. So you can keep scrolling this way to see more payment options. And you can set your time limit and say that, see, if this person doesn't pay within 15 minutes, please end the trade. And that's the instruction you left for this ad. And then you have all these additional requirements. So you can set that only people that have completed KYC should be able to pick your trade, or only people that have registered at least 10 days ago that should be able to pick your trade, and or you just, so these are different parameters. Now, why this is important? Let's say you're trading on WhatsApp. Yeah, one of the biggest challenges is, you hardly are able to get KYC information from people. And then let's say someone sends in an ill-gotten money to your account and it is tracked to you. That's a problem. And then when the police comes and asks you, okay, prove that you received this money, or who sent you this money, how did you get this money, and you say, okay, I sold something to the person, say who, why? Because of KYC is important. Okay, if you can provide the person for them, fantastic, they would allow you. Okay, so KYC is very important, and that's why using a P2P service like this makes perfect sense. Why? Because here Binance has the KYC. So when they come to talk to you, you're telling them that the trade happened on Binance. The KYC, you have the transaction history of the person. You can raise the ticket and talk about what is really happening. The police order can be attached as well, and that matter can be settled. So that's why it makes sense to use P2P platform on Binance. And then post trade ads, once you see the final ad will show for you to just see, and then you can either post another one. You can post more than one ad at a time, and then, or you can just complete, and your ads will now show here. Now there are platforms that charge you, that you have to have a minimum balance before you can even post an ad. But Binance is completely free. Okay, so this is very, very interesting, and we'll be diving more into some of these parts, later, via a demo. But for now, we want to really learn how to take advantage of trading peer-to-peer on the OTC side to make money on crypto. So
Thanks.
I'm done. Over to you, Dami. Thank you
Yes,
very much.
can you just look at the Q&A function and answer, type answers to any of the questions that are relevant,
Okay.
so that we don't waste time, and then we can go straight into prof session. Does that work?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Thank you, Emmanuel, for that. Everyone, if you want to also learn a bit more about Binance P2P, I've shared a link in the chat function. So now, for the reason why we're here, as I mentioned before, let me just introduce Prof again. So we have Olale Awe, also known as Prof, popularly known as Prof. And he is very, very kind to be here with us today. And Prof is a serial entrepreneur with a vast experience in fintech. He is a cryptocurrency enthusiast, trader, and investor, and he's the founder of Alpha Training Lab. We will be sharing his social media handles on the website, and then after his session, he will be able to teach you, he'll be able to answer any questions you have as well. And following that, we'll also have a giveaway. Actually, someone just reminded me, before we go into prof session, sorry guys, we have a quick giveaway based on all the things Emmanuel just talked about. So I'm sharing a form now in the chat function. And the first 6 people to answer questions correctly will be the winners. And Emmanuel, I think they're getting $10
each. Yeah.
Yes, $10 each. Please see the form. Somebody says they're waiting for the form. Sorry for wasting time. Please see the form here. So please answer the 2 questions. First correct answers will win. Okay, so let's give them a few minutes, Emmanuel, to do that. But Emmanuel will be answering. Some of you had good questions about Binance P2P. He's going to be answering those in the Q&A function. So like I said, if you have any questions, type them out and we'll be answering them as many as possible. I think actually we can start with Prof now. So like I said, I'm going to share Prof's all through his class. I'm going to be sharing his social media handles in the chat function and a link to his website for you to learn more about Alpha Training Labs. Thank you, Prof.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, some people may be at night because I know there's some people attending from different parts of the world. Binance is a global brand, so I expect I would have several people from different parts of the world attending on this call. When I saw the topic of this masterclass, I was very impressed because when you talk about trading off the charts, it's one thing that P2P trading is all about. You don't necessarily have to know how to read a chart to be able to make money with peer-to-peer. Well, I'll just share a little bit of my story of how I got into crypto and basically how we got here. And it started sometime in July 2016 when MMM was still, very popular. And I remember when my friend was disturbing my life at that time that he wants me to join MMM. I was like, what the hell is MMM? Why are you disturbing my life? Eventually I decided, okay, let me even take a look at this thing. So I went online, did a Google search, and I think one of the things that got me interested was because the founder, was a mathematician. And, because I studied mathematics in university, so that gave me interest that, okay, so the mathematician can create something global. So I took a closer look and I saw that, oh, this model makes sense. It can work, but, there will be times where it's going to be in trouble. So I decided, okay, let me give it a try. And so when I signed up and I got into MMM, I remember my first PH was 25,000 naira. And okay, some people said they can't hear me. Is that general? Okay, so
We can.
all right. So I started with 25,000, and then out of curiosity, I saw Bitcoin somewhere, and I was asking myself, why is Bitcoin 50% per month and Naira is 30% per month? I thought it's the one that's popular that should be more, that should offer more benefits. So I went online and searched what is Bitcoin, and what I saw, literally caught my attention, and that was the fact that Bitcoin facilitates moving of value from one territory to another without the bottlenecks, that banks and other financial institutions will put on your neck. So, and that got me very, very interested because, like I always like to remind my followers that my first major loss in business was sponsored by a Nigerian bank. I won't mention their name today, just, but, and that happened because there was a delay in the transaction that was supposed to happen, very quickly, and they delayed it for 3 weeks. And those 3 weeks, well, it ended in premium tears. So from there, I decided, okay, let me give this Bitcoin part also a try. So I decided I was going to throw 25K at it. So I did PH 25,000. So I went online how to buy Bitcoin in Nigeria because that was the first time I was hearing about Bitcoin. So I went online, I saw several names, okay, local Bitcoin, BitX, that is now Luno. So I went to local Bitcoin at that time. I did not understand anything from, what I saw. So I went back to BitX. I said, okay, this X looks like it would be interesting. So I opened it, signed up, and bought my first Bitcoin, 25,000. But I noticed that it cost me 27,000 to buy 25,000 worth of Bitcoin. Of course, that was because of fees and several other things. So after I did that, I decided, okay, let me wait till morning before I send the Bitcoin to the person I was matched to pay. But by the morning when I woke up, I discovered that the value had gone up. It was no longer 27,000, it was 30,000. So I started asking myself, how is this possible? Something that I just bought last night, how come it has gone up almost 10%? So, and that was where, the journey started, because that made me ask, why am I putting my money in MMM for 30 days for 30% when I can get 10% overnight? So that made me very interested. So I started, occasionally I'll just go on BTEX and buy. A few days later, I will sell it higher. And I saw that, oh, this was making sense. Then a few months later, I discovered that there were even a lot of people that were buying and selling Bitcoin to themselves. So I thought, oh, so there's something that is different from going on an exchange to try and buy Bitcoin. So I got interested and I started, I remember I went on Naira Land, yes, and I started trading there. I would just buy from individuals, I'll sell to other individuals. I was making, I think at that time, 2016, I was making like 40K every day. And, I was like, wow, this is amazing. At that time, I was still working full time. So you can imagine how much 40K would be like, for somebody who was, making 40K every day when you have a regular job. It's like a big deal. So I said to myself that, wow, this thing is amazing. So I think after the first week, after I had made about 300 and something K, my first my first wake up call came. I went on Naira Land as usual and saw one person who made an advert to sell Bitcoin of a certain quantity, and I made the bid to buy. Now, the first red flag was that the price was way lower than market price. That was the first red flag. But I didn't pick that because, of course, greed was already romancing me. So I, made a bid to buy. The person said, okay, let me send money. I was like, okay, even it was even very nice. He said I should send just half. So after sending the half, he will send me the Bitcoin for the one that I have bought. But I did not, I thought, why should we waste time on something that we can finish once and for all? You have the Bitcoin, I have the money. So I said, send me account number, and I sent everything. I paid the whole amount, 360K, which was like my work for about a whole week. And the guy blocked me from everywhere. He blocked me on Facebook, blocked me everywhere. And, it occurred to me that I had just given all my hard work away. And so from there, I started searching for answers. So they can scam you in this business. Then I didn't know now. I traded for, I think, about a few months and felt like nothing can happen until that day that I saw myself without carrying mirror. So it occurred to me that, oh, so they can actually collect your money and vanish, and that's where, I started looking for, better ways to do my trading without getting into trouble. And that's where P2P came in because, as at that time, there weren't many options. There was local Bitcoin. I wasn't even interested in learning it because it felt very strange. The interface was confusing. And then I also heard there were so many scammers there, so I didn't even want to risk any more money after the one that just happened to me. So I said to myself that, okay, I was going to look for, but from that moment, I discovered that you could make a lot of money from buying and selling Bitcoin to individuals. But if you're dealing with people that you've never met before, you don't even know if they have anything called integrity in their lives. You need to then look for platforms that can help you um, take advantage of the opportunities that abound. Now, one of the reasons why it's possible to make money doing peer-to-peer trading, because our focus today is on peer-to-peer, is that someone called me yesterday. I was asking, okay, why is it that the Bitcoin in Nigeria is not finishing? What's happening? Why is there always Bitcoin going around? And I said, well, it's a simple math. All of us are just recycling the same thing. Because I sell to you today, you sell to somebody else. Eventually, that coin comes back to me somehow. So, and that's the thing about trading cryptocurrencies. Many people have called it several names. Some have said it's a scam. Some have said it's this, it's that, it's Yahoo boys. Well, I can tell you for free that Bitcoin has nothing to do with Yahoo boys. Yeah, they can use it just like they use it to steal Naira. I mean, our politicians, is it Bitcoin that they are stealing? No, it's Naira that they're stealing, and it's going through, different channels. So that just tells you that anybody can be, you can be bad with anything, no matter how good the technology is, you can be bad with it. Yes. So, but like I said, P2P gives the opportunity for you to make a lot of money. And I'll explain how that is. Now, in those early days, what I used to do is I would go on, several platforms, check out the price of Bitcoin. And then I'll go on, I'll look all around to see where can I get the cheapest. And after I buy it, I'll look around to see where can I sell the highest for profit. And so that was what I was doing. Even till today, we still do that. And I think the market has evolved now. There's been a lot of changes that have gone on in the ecosystem. There's been a lot of options that have come in. Like Binance, when Binance opened, I think last year in Nigeria, I was, initially I was skeptical because I felt, these people, they don't come again. But because I've been impressed with what Binance has done in other countries, so I said, okay, I'll give it a try. And, so far, I'll say I've been very impressed. And when the P2P system was launched, I felt, oh, okay, these people are here for real. They're not here to play, And today I'll show you a few things I know about the Binance P2P system. But let me just explain a little bit what trading P2P means. Now, when you hear P2P, it sounds like big English. What it just means is buying and selling between individuals. So I don't need a third party to be in between both of us. So right now I can message somebody on WhatsApp and say, oh, I want to buy Bitcoin at so amount. If he has Bitcoin to sell at that amount, he will sell to me. Same thing happens on other chat platforms, Telegram, WeChat. Yeah, so you have so many of them that you could, get. Even some places, some chat forums like Nairaland and Co. You have people where you can meet people. But the danger in doing that blindly is like what happened to me in 2016 when I met somebody, and because the price was too juicy for me, I gave away all my money foolishly. But with exchanges like Binance and the P2P system, and the good thing is Binance offers that service for free. So essentially, they're protecting your money for free. That is very generous. And I think there are only two exchanges in Nigeria that has that service for free, P2P, and that's very generous of them because it means that I can trade without fear. I can go on Binance, set and hard, and somebody sells coin to me and I pay them directly, But let me just say one of the reasons why it's possible to make money P2P is because in the P2P space, there's no pricing is subjective. If you go on the spot exchange, say Binance.com, go to the BTC NGN pair, you will see that there is a chronological order. Buyers and sellers are arranged in a certain way. You can't buy cheaper than the highest bid. You're going to wait until that order gets filled before it can get to you. Now that is order, and they call that order book system, which obviously is now very common. But with the P2P system, somebody can just come online and like your name and say, this name, I like this guy's name, look like my uncle's name or like my daddy's name, and the person decides to sell to you, even though your price is a little bit lower than the market price at the time. Some other person can come and say, oh, I like the bank this person wants to pay from. I don't want interbank issues, and the person decides to open a trade hard with you. So it shows that there's so many options that P2P brings to the table. So you don't have to worry about so many things. And when you're trading on a platform like Binance, for example, you don't need anybody to you don't need to worry about anybody scamming you, because there's a there's a system in place that escrows. So if somebody brings Bitcoin and says, I want to sell to so person, maybe the person opens the trade, Binance will take an escrow of that asset. So if, for example, I come and say I want to sell zero point 0.5 Bitcoin, they'll take a zero point 0.5 Bitcoin from my account and hold it. Now, it is expected that the other person will pay within the window that is given. So the person will come and say, okay, after the person makes a payment to my bank account that I have provided, the person will click that he has paid, and then I can go and just tick that off and release the Bitcoin to the person. Well, if I am assuming that, okay, let's say I want to be funny and I refuse to release the Bitcoin to the person, and I refuse to, release the Bitcoin to the person, then it means that there's going to be a dispute. You can just open a dispute and Binance support will deal with it, because they're going to try and find out if the person actually made the payment, and then they'll try and resolve that. In other words, there's no way you can get scammed, because you're going to be the one to release the coin to the person after you've received payment. The same way, if you're buying, after you pay the person and the person refuses to release the coin, you just need to, upload a proof of payment, or proof of payment, or even your bank statement showing the outflow, and then the support team can take it from there. That gives you some form of peace of mind, unlike what happened to me in my early days in trading, where I went and just dashed my money away, and that is something that exchanges like, yeah, I can see so many people telling me they've been victim of scam before. Yeah. So it's always the juicy rates that are impossible, and I remember, I think there was an argument going on in the Binance Telegram chat where somebody said he buys Bitcoin at a certain rate, which is nothing close to what is possible in the market. And there's been an argument around that. Now, that's for you to know that there's going to always be a lot of bad elements in the market. There's so many people that their only job is to try to take your money. So how do you guard against that? So let's start with how you can build your peer-to-peer business. And then we'll look at Binance as one of the options, because there are many options, but Binance gives you one of the very good opportunity to avoid being scammed. So now, the first thing about Bitcoin trading is the fact that there's a lot of volatility, and volatility means money. Every time you see Bitcoin is always going up and down. Many people are afraid of that because they don't have the, once they see price move in a certain way, fear comes in. But you see, with being a P2P person, you most of the time don't even need to worry about whether Bitcoin is going up or down. You just need to have an idea of what you need to do. And so that's what I'm going to share in the next few minutes, to give you an idea of how you can build your own Bitcoin business. Now, first things first is, of course, you have to have accounts, in all the exchanges, including Binance. Also, you need to also have, I don't know, now people have adverts on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. I don't do that, but a lot of people do that as well to put themselves out. But also take note that it's not everybody who has an advert online, either either Instagram, or that is legit. So if you're in doubt, make sure that such a trade is carried out on a platform like Binance P2P, so that your money does not vanish like my own. So and the first thing is you need to find out where can you buy Bitcoin. It could be from individuals, it could be from chat groups. We have a lot of trade groups all over the country. Some escrow groups on WhatsApp, on WeChat. Of course, it's up to you to find your way into those places, but you also have to make sure that you don't just go there and be foolish, because there are a lot of people there who are scammers. So you have to be smart as well. And every time you get into a new group, don't just go and do a trade without verification. Even there, I've heard of groups where they would even vouch for this, because all of them are in the scam ring. So they will vouch for themselves. So you come and you say, this person is an admin. You you say, this admin has vouched for the other person. Or you want to do escrow, all those escrow chat groups on WhatsApp and co. And they'll tell you, just send your coins to the admin. And the admin is even the head of the scam group, So at the end of the day, you just say that your money is gone. If you're in doubt, always make sure that your trades are completed on P2P exchanges that have, like, for example, if you're doing your trade on Binance P2P, they're not going to charge you any fees. So what do you stand to lose? Nothing. And you have somebody who is in between escrowing the coins so that the person doesn't make away with your money. So, but the first thing is, as a trader, you want to find out where you get people to sell Bitcoin to you, or where you can buy from. You can also buy on okay, so you can also buy on exchanges. So you can go on places like Luno and others and buy from there. And after you've bought, you can also, I think there are so many options, so many exchanges in Nigeria now. There's Binance, there's Luno, there's Bitcoins, there's Remitano, there's Quidax, so many of them. So you can always go there and check every now and then to see what the price is. Sometimes you have even price difference between Luno and Remitano. You have price difference between Luno and Binance. So sometimes you buy on Luno, you go and sell on Binance. Sometimes you buy on, on Bitcoins, you sell on other exchanges. That's how you make money. Or you can even buy from individuals. Like in some groups, you can see somebody who says, I want to sell 1 Bitcoin for so amount. And you have somebody else who is going to buy a little bit higher. Do you understand? So you can go and talk to your buyer, get an agreement, and then you go and seal with the other person. In fact, one of the biggest way money is made trading P2P is from buying from individuals. In fact, most of the coins I buy every day, I buy it from only one group, and so many people are wondering, how do you manage to buy that much Bitcoin in one group? And it's because there's always people willing to sell. And so when that is the case, you can take advantage of the opportunities that are bound. For example, you have buyers who offer a certain amount. For me, for example, my system is simple. I just target, say, 5 to 10K per Bitcoin. So if you have Bitcoin to sell, I'll approach you and ask you, what's your rate? Once your rate is lower than what my buyer is offering, I will buy from you, pay you, and then, and most of the time, why people struggle with P2P trading, especially when you're doing it offline and not on exchange, is because many people have what I would call integrity deficit. So people cannot trust you. They can't trust you with their money. Sometimes they will send you coins before you pay, maybe 3 days later, and or there's so many excuses you will give. Sometimes you don't even have money. But I think one of the areas you can look at as a trader or as a beginner is to be like a middleman, where you connect buyers to sellers and then you keep the change. So for example, we do that every time. We do that all the time, every day, where you have buyers and sellers offering different amounts. You can go and meet a buyer, buy from the person. Maybe the person will sell to you because the person trusts you more than the other person. That's money for you, So you need to begin to build. At the end of the day, P2P trading is about relationships, and that's the good thing about trading on escrow services like the one Binance provides, because there you can build relationships. You know who you're dealing with. Unlike if you're on the spot market, nobody knows anybody there. If you go there and do anything, nobody knows you. But on the P2P market, you can build a relationship with a particular person or several people, such that when they have Bitcoin to sell or when they want to buy, they will come straight to you. They will look for you on the list of available buyers or sellers. So and that is how you build your relationship. So you start by starting on an exchange, which is what I did. I started on Luno, and then from there I started looking for other options. From there I started meeting other people who buy and sell Bitcoin. So from there I used that to also, some I got close to, some it didn't happen. But at the end of the day, you always have opportunities to buy and sell Bitcoin. And the core of P2P trading is to be able to move value from one point to another, making profit. As a trader, your job is to make profit, nothing else. If you are trading and you're not making profit, you are just literally a what do I call it? You're just literally a charity organization, So it's important that from when you start building the relationship. If your first contact with Bitcoin trading is this class, then you can even start on Binance P2P. Just will show you how you create your adverts, and when you get to buy coins, how do you sell it? You can sell it on there on the same Binance. You can sell it on the spot side. You can sell it to other P2P traders. In fact, I remember when we started, then we used to be on a particular P2P exchange where we would buy from the back. So we would go and queue at the back and buy small quantities, then aggregate them and sell to those in front. So we have those big traders who would, of course, offer higher prices. So we'll buy from there, from the back, we'll buy little quantities, then we'll go and sell to those people for profit. And that's how we also made moves to grow. Sometimes you can also have people who can buy from you without necessarily waiting. That they don't need the coins immediately. So, for example, you can go and meet somebody and say, "Oh, I can supply you one. I can supply you one Bitcoin," and the person says, "Okay, this price is what I will agree," and then the person can go and buy that Bitcoin. It can take the whole day for the person to buy it, but at the end of the day, you get your Bitcoin. Maybe you sold it a long time before that, so you don't have any problem. So there are so many options to how you can approach trading, with other people and P2P, either on an exchange or with individuals. So it starts with knowing how to source for your coin. Of course, if your coin is more expensive than every other person in the market, you most likely will have to hold it longer. So, which is why you need to always source for your coins in the right places. And as a general rule, I would say the best time to buy Bitcoin is always when it's going down, because when it's going down, you can even buy and hold. For example, last night Bitcoin was 4.1 million. I think at some point it was 4090, 4080. So anybody who bought coins last night will most likely be selling now in profit, because now I think we're about 4.16 now. That's a whopping 60K per Bitcoin. So that's another way you can approach it. So it's not everybody that will buy and sell instantly like some of us do, and it's because sometimes when you're dealing in large quantities, you cannot take unnecessary risk. You can't hold too long because you could end up in very serious trouble. And when you're trading P2P as well, you need to. Now, one thing I want to clear up is that there are always going to be people who will buy your Bitcoin. That is that's something you should always remember. And for those who are outside Nigeria, because I got a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm a Nigerian, but I'm not able to use any of the platforms in Nigeria to trade." I think that will be different on Binance, I presume. Mr. Emmanuel, is that right? Is it there? Oh, I think it's okay. Okay, when it comes back, I think I'll ask if it's possible for Nigerians to be able to buy and sell. Okay, so at the end of the day, like I said, when you start your business, you want to give yourself some level of publicity. No matter what you're doing, if people don't know you're doing that thing, it's almost impossible for them to patronize you. So if you are a Bitcoin merchant, even though I don't like to use that word, if you're a Bitcoin merchant, then you have to make sure that your friends and family at the core level knows about it. So if, for example, somebody mentions to them that, oh, I sell Bitcoin or I buy Bitcoin, they can refer them to you. And then you can also, you already know the places you can sell to. You can sell to individuals, you can sell on Binance P2P, and all of that. So that gives you options to uh, on how to proceed. So I'm trying to bring up the Binance screen. All right, so I know there's going to be a lot of questions around how you, like I said, the first thing you must think about when trading Bitcoin between individuals is to be security conscious. Don't just think everybody is like you. Even if you are a very, if you're an upright person, it's not everybody that is going to be upright like you. So you have to be very vigilant. For me, since that incident happened, I always make sure that before I sell Bitcoin to anybody, I get my payments first. So when I see my money in my account, sometimes I will even move it to another account just to be sure that there's no hanky panky going on, And once that is done, then I send you your Bitcoin. If you don't agree to do the deal, then it's fine. You can go and do it with somebody else. But that is the way I protect myself. So when I deal with new people, I always, first of all, do a KYC. I want to know who you are. Why are you buying Bitcoin? And if it's large quantity, in fact, I go into more detailed KYC because one thing with trading one-to-one is that you will meet different people who would come in different ways. They will come in different guys. There was this client that came to me and said, oh, he wants to, I think he said he wanted to buy 10,000, 10 million dollars worth of Bitcoin. And I said, okay, no problem, but I need to know who you are. Why are you buying this amount of Bitcoin? What is it for? So I asked him to provide me identity documentation, address, at least I should know where you live. Do you understand? So I asked for all those things and the person went mute and I was like, what's the issue? And he said, that I should not be worried about all of that because Shebi is the one buying. He's the one that should be afraid since he wants to send me money. I said, no, what if you're sending me stolen money? When the FCC comes, they won't they won't take it lightly with me. They will ask me, did you know this person was? And in the law, you can't claim to be ignorant. Ignorance is not an excuse, So most of the time, it's important that you do your verification. If you're meeting somebody for the first time, it is very important. You have to know who that person is. In fact, for me, I always take an indemnity. So if you're trading with me and you're a big trader, you have to write me an indemnity that this money you are trading with me with is not stolen money. And if at all it is stolen money, I don't have knowledge of that, and I am completely absorbed of any blame. And that has saved me a lot of times, because I remember one time my GT Bank account was frozen, and I didn't even know. I just wanted to send money and it was telling me one English. I didn't even understand. I thought it was just usual GT Bank network issue. So I just ignored it. Later, I decided, okay, I need to make this transaction. So I sent, and money didn't go. So I was wondering, what was going on? Fortunately, I had a friend who was working there at that time. So I called him. I was like, "Oga, what was going on my account? I can't make payments." And he said that there's an arrest warrant on me and on my account. And I was like, for what? Interestingly, a few days before that, some people came and wanted to buy Bitcoin from me. In fact, the rate they offered was like 20% above market rate. That should have been a no-brainer, right? I should have just sold straight up. But, when I remember what happened to me that day when greed was hugging me from all sides, I knew that something was amiss. So I asked them for KYC and they ran away. It was after that guy checked and saw that the the freeze on my account was from the EFCC. Why? Because they had already put my account number in somebody's internet banking profile to move the person's money out. So if I'd agreed to do that deal, they would have paid me with stolen money. Oh, goodness. And I would have been the one, because EFC doesn't want to hear stories. They will just collect all the money back. And you have already supplied Bitcoin. Where will you go and look for the Bitcoin? So that's why when you're dealing in cryptocurrency, you have to be very, very deliberate and strict. Don't say, "Oh, I know this person." I have people who their friends have scammed them. I think one of them is even on this call. Their friends scam them. So it's not even by just having your friend. Yes, somebody said OTC is very risky. Yes, it is. But the risk can be mitigated. Like I was discussing with my friend a few days ago. There is no business that is not risky. In fact, our business is one of the biggest risks you can take. And that's why, the risk, the higher the risk, the higher the reward. We make a lot of money from crypto because it is a risky business. I remember there was some time ago when one big trader reached out to me and said, "Oh, he wanted to buy a certain amount of Bitcoin." I think at that time, 18 BTC. And I said, "Okay, no problem. Let's do this." And that was our first trade. I don't know what gave me confidence to to send him the Bitcoin first. So I sent the Bitcoin to him, and the next thing I started hearing cricket sound. Uh-uh. I called his line, nothing. I messaged, he did not deliver. I was already sweating. I said, it's BTC. God, where will I start from? So I went and slept, woke up, and I saw his missed calls, and I called him, and it was like his phone went off, and I was like, in your life, please don't do that kind of trick on me, please. For any reason, don't deal with me when your battery is low, because that's the thing. There's so much risk that, you just like, for example, you sell your coins to a person, and then the person is owing you money, and you hear that the person, for example, the person disappears or dies or is in EFCC custody. Where do you want to start from? Say someone that is in prison, you want to go and drag his neck to come and pay you. So that's why you have to do your own due diligence. You have to ask questions. People you don't trust, go and do the trade on Binance P2P, where you know that they cannot cheat you. They cannot take your money, run away. Somebody is already calculating how much it's in this. At that time, BCC was even around 6.5 million. So it's even way more than that. It's instant. The BP will not even read again. It will cross the highest point on the BP reading machine, So that's how risky the business is. But you can mitigate. For example, the way I run my own system, I don't trade with somebody I don't know. And once you start behaving in funny ways, I stop dealing with you. No matter who you are, I don't care, because my money is more important to me than anything else. I don't put emotions into it. There's somebody I stopped trading with in January this year. We've not done any trade at all this year. Last year, the person was one of my biggest traders, one of my biggest buyers. But I stopped trading with the person. Why? Because the person will owe me for days. The person will not even reply messages until when the person has the money to pay. And I said, it's not mean that you will kill with hypertension. So I stopped dealing totally with the person. The person has made attempts to reach out and apologize and say, no, I don't do my business that way. And it's deliberate. It's loss of revenue, maybe, but it's better when I've not lost money than when my money is missing and I can't get the person. Do you understand? Especially those that trade outside the country, because we do a lot of cross-border, like Emmanuel was explaining earlier about people buying and selling Bitcoin, to make payments in other countries. So we do a lot of things like that. So imagine that you make a payment to a Chinese, you send coin to a Chinese man, and then you start hearing cricket sound. Where are you going to go and look for the Chinese person? And in China, all of them look alike. So even if you vex and go to China, who are you going to hold? All of them, they are bearing almost the same names. So where are you going to start your search from? So that's why, like I always say, sometimes when I don't trust somebody, I ask for my money up front. Let me see my money in my account, and then I can pay. I trust you after I've received my money, because at the end of the day, when it happens, there will be no tissue that will dry your tears. In fact, they will give you fat towel itself. It will not clear the thing, So that's the thing with, it's a lot of risk, but because of the risk that we have to take, that's why there's a lot of reward. You can make a lot of money. I know people who all they do is just buy and sell Bitcoin. In fact, that's the only job I have, is what I do full time. I just buy and sell Bitcoin, and most of my needs are met. So, and it's something you can do. You can just start building relationships. You can get into crypto communities, meet people. Then you can spend your morning till night on all those P2P exchanges, Binance, for example. If you're there and you're patient enough, you will get trades. And somebody have asked me, what if I don't have money to trade? And I'll say, well, that's the least of your problem. One of the advantages of P2P trading is that you don't have to have the money yourself. As long as you're able to find somebody who has the money to make a payment for that deal, then it can be done. So if, for example, you're on Binance P2P, you're just there chilling, and somebody comes and dash you 10 Bitcoin, maybe in your account, you're seeing the money you have in your account cannot even flash glow to glow line. You start wondering, how am I going to pay for 10 Bitcoin? You start doing the math, punching calculator and saying that, let me just cancel this thing. It's not for my age. But instead of doing that, you can go and look for somebody like me, for example. You can come and meet me and say, I have 10 Bitcoin for sale. And you sell to me. If I trust you, I will sell to you. I'll pay. You send the coin to me, and everybody is good. You keep the change. Everybody is happy. So that's another way you can take advantage of this. For example, some people don't have the time to sit down on exchanges waiting for coins. You can have all that time. So you can stay on an exchange, get the trade when it comes. You find somebody who's going to pay you. You can even call Maybe you have an uncle who trusts you. You can call our uncle something show, even if it's once you complete the trade, everybody will be happy. I remember there's a friend of mine who he did not have capital at the time. So what he does is every morning he will call 10 of his friends and borrow 10K from each one. That's 100K. So at the end of the day, you will pay back 10,100. So 100 naira is the gain. Of course, you have 10,000 sleeping in your account doing nothing, and you see somebody who is going to send you 10,100 at the end of every day, when the money could just be there, and banks will even be deducting stamp duty and everything. So many creative ways that you can take advantage of the OTC system. Now, let's be clear, more than 90% of every Bitcoin that is sold and bought in Nigeria every day happens through the OTC system. So somebody is asking, can I come to you with a business? Well, if you know how to sleep in cell, because if you thief my money, you sleep in the cell. Yeah. So, but the point is, you can build relationships with people who trust you, who you can piggyback on them. You can also be one who, you may have funds sleeping in your account doing nothing. You can take advantage of the P2P system, buy from there, sell somewhere else, or even sell on the same platform. Like someone just sent me a screenshot of a coin he just bought now, very cheap. In fact, he's making nothing less than he's making nothing less than that's 4143, 4177. That's almost 20K just now, just there. So yeah, so that's that. OTC is very interesting. And with Binance P2P, it even makes it a lot more interesting because you then have the opportunity to take advantage of all the different, you know that when you're dealing on Binance P2P, you don't worry about somebody running away with your money. It's not going to happen. You're going to get value for your money always. Somebody said, what is OTC? OTC means over the counter. In other words, you're doing it offline. It's not something you're doing in the regular way. So you're not trading on an exchange. You're not trading, yes, on any central exchange. You're dealing mostly with individuals. So that's off the channel thing, which, like we already pointed out, can be very dangerous. But like I said, there's nothing that is not dangerous. Even waking up every morning is dangerous, So the most important thing is to mitigate against those things. So let's just quickly look through the Binance P2P system, and I'll just show you a few things, and then we can round up the session and take questions and answers. Yeah, just a moment. Let me sign in. Okay. All right, so while I'm signing in, let me see if I'm sure we have a lot of questions already based on all the things I've said. So we'll have a Q&A session shortly after this. Okay, there are also a lot of questions already waiting. Okay, so let me just be signing in. All right, so one thing that you also have to pay attention to when you're dealing OTC is you have to pay attention to your banks. A lot of people do not realize how important banks are in the whole ecosystem, because you cannot, OTC, you don't depend on a third party to sanction transactions. So when I go on Binance P2P, for example, I don't go and send, I don't, just a moment. Oops. So when I go on Binance P2P, for example, I don't worry about banking limits, because now, for example, the Binance Spot, you can only withdraw, I think, 4 million every day, which is just about which is just about one BTC, but you know that most big traders like myself, that is like scratching, is like is like nothing, because how much is one BTC when we are trying to buy and sell multiples of that? So it's definitely not going to work. So, but with the P2P aspect, we don't need to worry about anything, because we know that there we just go set an advert. If there's somebody capable of buying it, the person will show up, and then that's fine. Everybody is okay. So that's that's something that you pay attention. So if you're looking to start your own OTC business, the first thing you need to do is to, of course, make sure that your banking applications are well upgraded. So make sure that all your banks are, if you want to go and do OTC and then somebody wants to buy one Bitcoin through you, how on earth are you going to um, how are you going to process it if your banking limit is 10K? So that's the point. So you want to, as much as possible, make sure to give the all your banking apps, make sure they are the max. And there are even so many apps now that allow you to do things that will help you avoid fees, because the fees you don't pay on the exchange, sometimes you will begin to pay to your banks. Stamp duty is there and all of that. There are some banking apps that allows you to avoid all of that. So you should also pay attention to those as well. Sorry, I'm waiting for verification code to get into my account. Just a moment. All right, so you need to have as many banks as possible, because that gives you flexibility. It's not everybody that would want to deal with GT Bank, for example. It's not everybody that will want to deal with it's not everybody that wants to deal with GT Bank, for example. It's not everybody that wants to deal with what is it now? It's not everybody that wants to deal with First Bank. So you need to be very clear about your banking limits and everything like that. And okay, somebody say can okay, so we'll get to the questions in a bit, but like I was saying, on Binance P2P, it is absolutely free. I'm sure the only thing you worry about is when you want to withdraw the coin. If you want to withdraw the coin, then yeah, someone say OTC stands for off the charts. Well, that's also another angle. That's true. You can use that too as the meaning, but the general meaning is over the counter. Sorry, I don't know why I'm having. Just a moment. Okay, Dami, just to save time while I'm trying to get into my account, can we run through some of the questions?
Yes, sure. It's really the ones you want to answer. They've already typed Do you want me to read them out? Would that be quicker for you if I read them?
Okay, I think that's better then. So
Okay.
that we save the time.
Let me see which ones. Well, there are lots.
Okay, so I
Let-
think it will be easier for me to know which ones to. Okay, maybe just read them, whatever.
Whatever answers we can give, I'll try and go in order. Hello, please, how much does it cost to send BTC from an exchange, say Quidax to Binance? I don't think we have the answer to that. I mean, you have to be using the exchange. That's not really relevant to you. Can I transfer my coins from Binance wallet to any other wallet connected to a different platform?
Yes, you can. You can. You can send from Binance to anywhere else you desire.
Okay. What is the other fastest way of exchanging one Bitcoin for fiat apart from escrow service?
Okay, well, like we said, you can use individuals. You can deal with individuals that you trust. For example, I'm always buying Bitcoin. So if you trust me, you can sell to me. You can sell to other people that you trust. But like I always give a disclaimer, especially against those who go to what's the name now, Instagram to get buyers. It can end in a lot of tears. So just avoid that as much as possible. There are going to be a lot of crypto communities, but your best bet is to use an escrow service. It's like the best because you have nothing to lose really. On Binance, you don't pay any fees. Once you create the advert, somebody picks it up. The person is going to pay directly to your account. So you don't have anything to worry about really. Unlike if you Okay, so I can go straight to this. All right, so I'm signed in now. Let me share my screen so that you can see what we have here. Okay, here's you. So let me do this. No, is it this? No. Okay, let me share the right thing so you don't go and see something you're not supposed to see. All right, so here we go. Okay, so I'm sure we've seen this screen before. For those who are not seeing it very clearly, you can just zoom in. You can zoom in to see better. All right, so here, you see at the top here, we have I want to buy and I want to sell. You see that? So you see I want to buy and I want to sell. So it depends on what you're trying to do. If you want to buy, you choose the I want to buy. And then there are all the different options of currencies here. Which one are you interested in buying? Is it BTC? Is it BUSD? Is it BNB? Is it ETH? Whichever one you're interested in buying, you select. So in the context of this session, we'll choose BTC. Now, when you choose to buy BTC, you will see so many people already on the list. Now, these are people offering to buy. Now, some will just come and click buy and buy. But the problem with that is that it can end in tears because why are you buying what you can't sell? So as an OTC trader, you want to be sure that whatever you're buying, you can sell. So whatever you are trying to buy, you have somewhere you can sell. So which is why, like I said, you need to have a big network of people or exchanges. So for example, we can check the Binance spot, which is one of the things I do. If I want to buy on the P2P part, I can go to the spot exchange and look at what okay, no. So sorry, yes, markets, not an instant buy. Okay, so give me a moment, let me get this out on GN. Okay, fiat. Mm. Okay, so BTC engine, that's what we need. All right, so here you see what the price is here. See, so you have 4160 here, 4160 here. Somebody is buying at 4160 on the spot exchange, right? And here you see somebody wants to sell at 4254. So the question is, does it make sense to buy? Obviously, this first one looks cheaper, right? So if I click on buy, then it will bring me here. It will ask me how much Naira value do I want to buy, or how much this thing. Now, notice something here. I did not need to deposit any money. Are we following? Or am I talking to myself?
Yes, we are following.
We're
All
following
right.
you.
So I don't need to deposit any money. I can initiate the transaction. Now, if I click, for example, I want to buy 0.009, like the person has advertised. Now, you notice it has calculated the equivalent for me right there. If I click on buy now, it will take me to where, okay, so it has opened the trade somewhere. Okay, so it's bringing me to the place. So here it is. So it's asking me, it has given me the details of the person I'm buying from. That's very easy, Abby. Very straightforward. So I have the person's phone number here. I can, if I want to, I can call the person. Somebody says expensive. Well, this is just a test class, so it doesn't really matter if it's, and it doesn't mean I have to pay. I can cancel. If you're no longer interested in a deal, you can always cancel it. So that's the good thing with this. Now, here it says, this is the account number, this is the bank. Now, once I make the payment, I will click transferred and then go to next. Now that person can decide that, oh, and if, for example, I want to, maybe the bank is not, there's sometimes that a certain bank is misbehaving. I can message the person and say, please, do you have another bank? Do you understand? So I can say, please, do you have another bank to pay to? And say, yeah. So if the person is active, the person can reply if he's interested. If the person is not interested, if the person is interested, he can reply and give me another account. If not, I either have to pay to that account or I just cancel. Now, so if, for example, I haven't paid and I just click that I have paid, it would be on the other person's side that I have said I have paid, but the person will wait for confirmation. For example, there's some people who say they have to go to the ATM to confirm their payment. So they will go and check. I don't understand how you're doing an online business and you have to go to the ATM to check if you have received money when you should have a mobile app where you can log in and check your price. So and check your balance, sorry. So you do that, you click confirm, and then now look at the warning here. It said, please confirm that payment has been made to the seller. Malicious clicks will lead to account getting frozen. So that's telling you that if you just go and click I have paid and you did not pay, I'm sure there's a penalty for that. So that obviously protects you from malicious actors. So also there's also the fact that if the other person hasn't received money, please, if you're doing OTC or P2P trades, don't ever confirm a payment without checking your balance. Don't wait on alerts. They are fake alerts. People will send you SMS like it's from your bank. Don't fall for it. Check online or in the app. Check. Be sure that your money is there. Your balance is correct. After that, you can release. If not, you wait. Someone will say, oh, what if price starts falling? Well, that's another risk that you're exposed to as a P2P or OTC. But that happens everywhere. Even if you're buying on an exchange, prices can drop while you're doing that. So It's not a big deal, and price falling is not the end of the world. In fact, it can be an advantage if you know how to use it, so that's not a big deal. So like I said, once I click confirm, for example, so you see, it gives me options. If I click on appeal, I'm saying that the person has received money but is refusing to release my coin. Once I click on appeal, the Binance support team will kick in. So they'll be able to get into the matter and check who is being funny between the two of us, whether it's me or sometimes it could even be bank. It could be bank mishap. Banks can mess you up big time in this business, but it's not a big deal if you. That's why most of the time it is always encouraged that you pay from the same bank, which is why I said earlier that you should open as many bank accounts as possible. So that saves you from interbank issues, So that's that. So we can appeal if we want. We can cancel the order if we want. Now, since the person has not replied, I can cancel and say, okay, I'm not buying again. So they say canceling orders 3 times a day will prevent you from trading for the rest of the day. So for the rest of this session, this is the last cancellation we're going to do before it ends in premium tiers. So once I cancel, the coins is returned to the owner. So it's no longer going to be, so that protects you from any fraudulent actors, So so that's is that clear enough? Did I show you that clearly enough? All right, beautiful. So if, for example, you have Bitcoin to sell, you can also come to the I want to sell part and look at what price will be favorable for you to sell. So for example, this person, this is USDT. Let me do, okay, beautiful. So this is, I want to sell. So all these people that want to sell Bitcoin at this, they want me to sell Bitcoin to them at this price. Now, if I don't like that, I can come and set my own order. I can set my own order. Okay, so I have some running. There's some that are being processed. So I shouldn't be showing you that. So back here. Okay, B2C. I want to create my own. So I want to sell. Okay, so these are different people who want to sell Bitcoin to me at different prices, varying prices. Wait a minute. Okay, that was 4.2. I thought it was 4.1 in my mind. Oh, okay. So, like I said, it's always important to.
If you observe right now, I think the price on the sell side is even better than the spot right now, actually.
Yes, for the first guy is higher than the spot. So you can just come here and sell Bitcoin to this person. So like you see that we have the spot open here. It's 4157 at the moment. But remember that you're going to pay fees here on the spot market. So the P2P in this case will give you a better advantage because number one, you don't have to worry about how long payments is going to come and all of that. So do you understand what I'm saying? All right, so okay, I can use this too. Okay, so here you see I go to, now when you finish registering on the Binance P2P system, there's something called being a merchant. So here you see it says become a merchant. After you have registered, you need to follow this process to become a merchant. Now, when you're a merchant, you can buy and sell on the P2P system. So once you're a merchant, you have access to this portal called the merchant system. Here, notice that I can post a new ad. So for example, I can say, okay, I want to buy at a certain amount. So I come here, they will ask me, what am I trying to do? Buy or sell. So I can say, I want to buy Bitcoin for Naira. Notice there are so many other options here. There's dollars, there's South African rand and all of that. So I come here, this is where I decide what price I want to buy. Now, generally, personally, I always like to use a fixed price so that I know how much I'm buying per time. So I can say 4140. Now, remember that Bitcoin price is always calculated in dollars. So for example, if you go to bitstamp.net, you will have an idea of, sorry, not you. What does that look like Bitstamp? Okay. Yes. So here you have Bitstamp. This is where you see prices in dollars. Now, someone is asking, what does floating means? Now, floating means that you want your price to react to global price movement. So as this price is changing, you want your own too to be flexible like that. So that's fine for most people. But the problem with that is that there are cases where prices will move up sharply and you're not attending to your heart. So price has gone up and people have bombarded you with trades. Now, it's always wise to always recheck the rate of your trades when you see a trade comes in. You need to always check what that trade is, especially if you use a floating price. For me, I always use a fixed price, so I don't care what happens, whether prices pumped or don't, I don't care. If that fixed price is what I want to buy at, I'll buy. If it's no longer valid, I'll just cancel and rest. But if you're using a floating price, always make sure to cross-check the effective price on that trade before you make payment. Because sometimes you can make payment and it will end in tears. So be sure of that. So now it's asking you, do you want to make the price in USD to Naira, or you want to just float it based on a particular percentage relative to the current price? So if you know what the current per dollar price is, which most of the time revolves around the rate on Aboki FX. Sometimes it's a bit lower, sometimes it's a bit higher. But you can always know that by looking at the majority of people in the market. Why is my screen frozen? All right. So if you look at majority of people in the market, you can tell what the prevailing price should be. So let's use the USDT market. If you want to buy the lowest here is 445. Now, people who you can sell to are buying at 443.9. Another way you can calculate this, which is another easy way, is to take this price you're seeing on the spot market and divide it by this price you're seeing on Bitstamp. You can zoom in from your own end. If you're not seeing the page clearly, you can zoom in from your end. All right, so like I said, what you need to do is to take price on spot divided by price on Bitstamp. So that will give you an idea. Is this clear? What I just said, is it clear? So let me get the calculator and do a small example on that. Okay, so let's get a calculator. So give me a moment, let me get a calculator. Okay, so All right. So to do that, can you see my calculator? All right. Never mind. Just pay attention to what I'm doing. So let me share the calculator screen so that we can get what I'm saying. All right. So let me show you the calculator so you get an idea of what I'm saying. So what's the price on the spot market? 4159. Let's use 800, right? Divided by what's the price on Bitstamp at the moment? It's 9365. So this gives us 444.18. So that is what the price is revolving around. So 443, 444 is within the reasonable range. Anything you buy above that, you most likely will be losing money doing so. Is that clear? It's like I'm talking to myself since. Oh, okay. So, okay.
Very
So
clear.
some people got it, some didn't. But what I'm just saying is take the price on the spot exchange and divide by the price on Bitstamp. That gives you what the reasonable per dollar rate should be. If you're buying anything above that at that moment, you are doing yourself a great disservice. In fact, the lower you buy, the better for you. Like I said, always seek to buy Bitcoin when it is going down. That's where most people are afraid to buy it. And that's the best time to buy. If you buy when it is going up, there is a high chance that it will end in tears. Yes, someone said, can anyone just start P2P business on Binance? Yes, that's why we're having this session, so that you can start on Binance if you want. Somebody said, why Bitstamp? Well, Bitstamp for me is one of the most stable exchanges that in the world, and then they also are one of the few exchanges that are priced in real dollars. Many others use synthetic dollars or USDT, but Bitstamp uses dollars. So that gives you a fairer, because it's not all the time that one USDT is equal to one USD. So that can get confusing. But if you're using Bitstamp, you have something close to what it should be. All right, so here I can decide I want to buy a 443, for example, right? So this is, sorry, saying, okay, what do I want? I can do, is it 20, let me see, 15, okay, that's close. 14, so let's do 14.3. Okay, so this is close to what we want to do. That's because we're using a floating price. Okay, so I think you can just go online and explore these things. It's not so difficult. I think there's a guide that was shared in the group. I'm sure they'll still share it again so that you can see step by step how to go about this. But I think I've shared most of the concepts with you, so you can build on that. And let's quickly run through some of the questions so that we can do the giveaway. Okay. Is it possible to sell my crypto for USD here in Nigeria? Yes, if you find buyers who are going to. In fact, the Binance P2P gives you access to dollars, so you can sell or buy for dollars on Binance P2P. I think we saw that earlier here, where it asks what currency do we want to trade in. So I chose. So you can choose USD and just finish the process, and you'll be good. Yes, so that answers that question.
Are you looking at the Q&A form? So
Yes,
I can
Q&A. Yes,
okay.
that's the second question I'm seeing here.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay, someone says, is there any charge for transferring P2P wallet to spot? No, there's no fee. What's the fee for sending out coins to an external wallet. I think you need to check on Binance. I think at the moment it's 0.0004. I'm sure there's Binance is trying to reduce that to accommodate more people, so that's fine. How much is the charge for order book trading? I think you need to check on your account. It varies from account to account. I think many of these questions are Binance related questions, so Binance people can attend to them.
Yeah.
Okay, I've answered this one. I'm new here. Please, is it possible? Yeah, I've answered that. Okay, somebody said, what happens if someone on P2P send you money from fraudulent account? How can this be resolved so that you wouldn't be implicated? Yeah, now one of the advantages of trading on Binance P2P, for example, is that Binance has done KYC on the person who you're trading with on your behalf. So you will see that when you're setting an advert, there is where you choose that you want only people who have completed KYC to trade with you. You see that? And you're saying, I want somebody who has registered more than 10 days. In other words, you don't want somebody who just go and create a new account to come and do fraud. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's something you should pay attention to. So, yeah, so when there's any issue like that, Binance can, of course, with the request from the law enforcement agents, they can they can give information to get you out of the issue. But if you do it offline and you are on your own, you didn't do any KYC, well, it is very likely that you will end up in jail. All right, so okay, someone said I've registered for a long time on Alpha Trading, but I have not been confirmed since. What's the next process for my confirmation? Well, I'm sure they're going to reach out to you for the verification process, because we don't just allow any kind of person to join. We like to do a KYC just to be safe. Okay, can the value of Bitcoin be locked in at the purchase price after it is bought? I don't understand what the question is. Maybe you ask it in English so I would understand. Okay, someone said, can leverage trade be carried out on Binance? Yeah, of course. If you have a trade on Binance and you don't have enough money to pay for it, you can sell it to somebody who will pay you upfront, and then you complete the trade and send the coin to the owner. Yes, so it's a problem. If you can't trust your trade partner, you're not sending coins to him, they also will be skeptical about sending you coins too. Okay, that's if you're trading offline, no exchange involved. Well, that's normal. It's not something you can, if somebody doesn't trust you and doesn't want to trade with you, there's nothing you can do. You move on. Yeah, that's why there are many people. Okay, someone said, how did you get your GT Bank account unfrozen? Well, first I requested for an enhanced KYC. So banks allow you to do something called an enhanced KYC, where they'll come and visit you and ask you what you do. And, so your account officer will make sure to give you more information on what you need to provide, and that should be fine. But if you have received the inflow, that is another kettle of fish entirely. Okay, what are the names of the banking apps? Well, there's Kuda, I know of Bata, I know of, there's one from Binance, from a Binance subsidiary. I can't quite remember the name now. Emmanuel, what's the name again?
Is it Bondo?
Bondo, yeah, Bondo. So you can use those as well. What else? Okay, well, somebody is saying I should explain more on how to start OTC without or no capital. Well, that's clear. If you are on Binance P2P, for example, and somebody brings you a trade, you don't have enough money to make payments for it, no problem. Go and meet somebody who has money to who needs to buy your Bitcoin, or who wants to buy Bitcoin. Offer the person maybe a little lower than what's obtainable in the market, and the person pays. You get your own small cut, the person gets his own, and everybody is happy. Yeah. So they said on Binance, which is done first, does the buyer send the money first, or does crypto seller release the coin first? Of course, you're the one who is buying, so the buyer will make payment first. So if you are buying the Bitcoin, you have to make payment. Then the person will release. The coin is the escrowed part. So that part is not released until the other person confirms payment. Okay, I think many of them are Binance related questions. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
What's the
want to take
difference
one more,
between
um,
okay?
and then we can do the giveaway with the questions. If you just take one or two more questions that you want to answer, and then we go from there.
Okay, someone said, how do you mitigate against delays that come from our Nigerian banks? Well, one of the things I've learned over the years is to carry whoever you're making payment to along. So if you make a payment and the payment is delaying, sometimes it's not your fault. It may be your bank acting funny. You need to carry the person along, show all the evidence that you have made the payment. So I've sent this payment, upload screenshots, and then I'm sure that will be fine for any reasonable person. Okay, somebody said, what's the minimum amount that you can start trading with? Well, I started with 27,000 naira. So you can start with any amount, really. But I always advise that don't start with something that you cannot afford to lose. Because if you start with an amount that is more than what you have the capacity to repay, if you lose it, then it can seriously deteriorate into something else. So start small. Like I always say, start small, then grow fast. Start small, grow fast. So if you have 20K, start with that. Then from there, you will begin to learn. The truth is, the more you trade, the more you know how to trade. So remember, like we always say, practice is what makes perfect. If you trade occasionally, you only have occasional knowledge. Or if you trade always, you most likely will have advantage, Yeah. So last question. Yeah, last question. Let me see. Well, okay, I think I've answered most of these questions.
But I think it's now time for you to give them questions.
Okay,
Let's
so
Manuel, are you ready for that as well? For you to pick the winners. The first three
Yeah.
people. We're doing three questions, correct? And then the first three people
Three.
that answer
Yeah.
questions correctly are the winners.
Yeah.
Okay, test your students.
okay, so my first question is when did I start trading Bitcoin?
That's an easy question.
Yeah, that's yeah. Somebody got it. The person who said the month is the winner. All the
Yes, and
others,
then
yes,
it's
they're
actually
just
two.
rushing.
Okay, so the answer is what, July 2016?
July 2016. Yeah, that's
I
correct.
think only one person wrote July 2016. So
Yeah.
Emmanuel is
So
that person, and then the first two people that said 20.
all right. So the next question is, what fee do you pay for trading on Binance P2P? People's not even let me finish.
Just,
You want
just hold on. I'm actually still getting the first set. So the first two for that set 2016. Let me just call their names.
It's July 2016. So anybody
Yeah.
that just wrote 2016 is on their own.
Okay, cool. So let's see July 2016. The first person to say July 2016 is
Okay,
Anthony.
so we'll just grab the second question. I'll ask a fresh question.
Just hold on. Let me just pick this up.
Yeah, so when you're done, just let me know. So I think that was too easy. People just rushed it like ice cream.
Okay. So Anthony Agbonoja, please send me a message of your Binance ID. And then the next two people that said July 2016. The next person is Adetayo Iyelade.
Okay, so can I go with next question?
Yes, go on. Let me just call the last person.
All right.
Raymond Akpo. Okay, so just DM me your Binance IDs, three of you.
Yeah,
Let's go
send him
on.
a private message and DM him. Okay, Prof.
Okay, so how much is the minimum to start trading OTC? Okay, so many different answers.
Yeah, seeing different answers, not seeing anything. So
Okay, so we'll just go with 0 naira.
Okay, so
So the
anyone who
first
said
three,
nothing, anything, or zero, because they're all the same.
no, 0. I would prefer 0. All those nothing cool. I don't know
Prof,
what
you're
they're
really a
talking
professor. You are very strict.
about.
so hold on. Let's see. So I think 0. The first person was Jude. Please confirm if I'm correct.
Let me check as well. Thank you
Jude.
guys answered
Okay.
so far.
So the first person, Jude Edozie. Then I'm looking for people that said 0. You said 0 or 0 fee. People are saying 0 fee.
No,
You
not 0 fee. There's nothing like fee there. You're not
0.
opening fees here.
Next person that said 0, someone said 0.0.
Okay,
So
well, those that also said any amount you can afford, you can also consider them.
We only have 3 people, Prof. You have to
Okay, so that's fine. So we'll just take the next question.
So Bob, just hold on. The next one on that list after Jude is Bob. And then let me just pick the last
With the funny,
person.
what's I mentioned answer? They'll
Samuel,
quickly write into
Samuel
case.
Awe,
So Samuel Awe, Bob, and who's the first person?
and Jude.
And Jude. Please send Emmanuel a private message. Samuel Awe, Bob, and Jude. All right, Prof. Last question.
Okay, so what is the price of one Bitcoin on bitstamp.net at the moment?
And you can win twice, actually. So if you've won before,
You
just
just keep them. 9347.5. So I think I've seen some people who got that. 9347.
9347.5.
Yeah.
Some people were
This is,
asking me to
yeah.
send a private
There's
message.
some who got it initially. All the late answers, they're copycats.
Yes. I think Bob was asking how to send the message to Emmanuel. So if you look at the chat function,
Yeah.
you
So
see
even those who wrote 9347, you can give them.
yes. Bob, have you
Yeah.
figured out how to
9347,
Sorry,
9347.5. Let
Prof.
me
First
refresh.
person to get 9347.5. Let me just see here.
So I see that from the early answers, there's 19347. That person is definitely the winner.
Let's go back up then. So
Yeah.
9347. Okay.
So 19347 there.
Olawale Idris.
Okay, so then you can just give any of the others fastest fingers.
Okay. And then so the first one here is Olawale Idris. And then 9347. Let's see who
All
else.
those people using Glow. This is when you'll be regretting why you use Glow this time.
Omoni says 9347. And then he used letter O instead of 0. So
So people will set their own question and answer it themselves.
9347.
Their way.
9347. So Emmanuel Evie Nagbo. I hope I got that right. That's our second winner. And then lastly, 9347.5. Uzoatu Brian. Uzoatu Brian. Now, I think it's very important that we emphasize that everyone of these winners should reach out to me before the end of this call.
Man, they were asking how to reach out to you. So can you
Okay, so first of all, on this chat, if you click on the chat function, you can choose who to send the message to, or you can as well just drop it on the general chat. The same way you dropped the answer, just drop it on the general chat. Drop your Just I don't want.
I don't think they should do that, Emmanuel. They shouldn't share their IDs. They
Yeah.
should send it to
Send
either
it.
or to
Yeah.
Emmanuel
Yeah, it will be sent to you privately, I guess.
Yeah.
private.
I think
Just select.
they can choose who
Yeah,
they
you can
send it
choose
to.
exactly.
You can
Yeah,
send it to
so
Emmanuel and all
Emmanuel
panel.
Babalola.
Yes, but not to attendees.
Or just send it to the panelists.
Guys, click where it says to. Click the name. You can see the name of the panelists. You can also see all panelists. If you want to win your $10, you have to figure out how to use Zoom. So all right, thank you everyone for joining today. Thank you, Prof. That was a very, very helpful class. Learned a lot. Thank you, Emmanuel, for the introduction.
Thank you.
It's been a great 2-hour session,
Welcome.
and I'm very impressed with all of the attendees. They were listening. Thank you, Prof. I shared Prof's social media handles, quite a few times, but I will share it again, and I'll share the link to his website. For anyone who wants to know more about Alpha Training Labs and to also Alpha Training Lab and also to get in touch with him on Twitter or Facebook or Telegram. So yeah. Also, I said it's only panelists. Let me share panelists and attendees. Here are Prof's social media handles and his website. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Emmanuel.
You're welcome. Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you to our attendees for joining and for your great questions. Have a wonderful Sunday evening. Emmanuel, has everyone contacted you yet?
Not yet, actually. I've only gotten one ID. So if you're gonna be able to go to the Binance Telegram group, join the Telegram group, and reach out to me at MXD.
Can you type your handle, please, Emmanuel?
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, I've sent my handle now. So I'm dropping the list of the winners again on the chat. So these are all the winners.
Yes, Emmanuel announced the winners from the first giveaway. Emmanuel, can you write their names because it's a bit confusing the way you wrote it? And then the Google form that they filled. Yes, Emmanuel,
Yeah.
people had a
Okay, so
question
the
about the
winners
Google form.
winners from that Google form, right?
They're asking about the Google form, but also the people who won in the
The
first
Google
set.
form giveaways are easy to settle actually because we'll just sort that out and the winners will be contacted. So Olawale Idris has sent his. Okay. Samuel Awe, you've not sent yours in yet. So I think everybody's going to the Binance Telegram group and the link has been shared already. I believe so.
Right. I think I need to run now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Prof.
much. Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
thank you
everyone.
very much.
No, you have to end the call for Facebook to stop streaming.
Yeah.